comes to a place like the one we are in, Aisha Fahmi's palace, we are talking about a palace which witnessed a lot. Love, hatred, passion, darkness, light, dramatic history. And who can benefit from such a place like a writer, and not any writer? We are very much delighted to have with us one of the very few who are very much specialized in crime fiction. But crime fiction with a sense of humor. I don't know how she was capable of doing this blend, but this is the case. We are very much delighted and honored to have with us Noha Daoud. Noha, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, it's my honor.
Um, Noha, as I said, when it comes to such a place which witnessed a lot, it's going to be all the time, I think, in my humble opinion, a source of inspiration to all, and particularly to writers. I don't know if you share me this point of view.
Yes, of course, I totally agree with you, because places in any novel, it is a main element. The settings is a main element, and the place reflects strongly on the plot and on the things that are going to take place in the novel. So historical places, especially as you have mentioned, that had witnessed a lot of emotions, sadness, grief, betrayal, love, all these strong emotions have a great impact on the plot that could be written in such a place, or that can be inspire the writer. Of course, if I'm going to write a novel in such a place, I think I will write a lot about the human beings and the psychology, the human psychology. I think it will have a great role
You
in
always
my
dive
writing.
deep into our psychology and to get out from it the worst and the best. Because nobody's perfect, but who can conquer the bad side? I think this is the story. But there are some whom they call themselves energy scientists or stuff like that, or those who are involved more into even studying the walls of. They say that the furniture, the walls, they absorb all the emotions they have witnessed, and whenever you're there, you're going to feel this aura. I don't know if this is right or wrong, or this is something which you really can use in your writings.
Yes, of course. Although it may not be scientifically proven, but it had been investigated for many years. What you are saying about the energy and the aura that is absorbed in the walls and the furniture, it is investigated by many writers, and has a lot of novels that have been built on such a plot. Me myself, in my novel, the crime in building number 47, I had a paranormal part in my novel, investigating such ideas like energy and how energy can be interpreted into colors. So I agree with you, and I believe that these places cannot get rid of such energies easily.
Yeah, amen to that. This may be the reason why any one of us would feel bad, or feel that he or she, of course, doesn't want to stay here anymore because he feels something wrong is happening without anything wrong.
Yes,
And
of
there are
course.
others who say, "Oh, I felt great, and I felt this sense of relief when I just entered this place." Is this true?
I think so, yes, but I doubt if the same place can give different vibes. I think it will give out the same vibes. Strong people may not get affected, but I think the people who are a little bit weak in the inside can be more affected by such vibes. And this is why some places has a lot of crimes among the time. You know, every owner has a problem. Every owner has something that makes him leave the place after a while. I think that there are places that has this repetition, and it's not easy to get rid of such a repetition.
I don't know if you noticed this or no. I think what you have just said was written in many of the novels by Agatha Christie.
Yes, of
True.
course. Yes, true. And Agatha Christie, was delighted by exploring places, the settings and the places were main characters and elements in Agatha Christie's novels, of course.
And of course, I don't know if you are a big fan of her or no.
Yes, of course. She is my icon
Yeah.
in crime fiction writing.
Since you mentioned crime fiction, let's simplify the story for our viewers, because there are many people who do not know how to differentiate between crime fiction and horror.
They are totally different genres, although, as you have said, a lot of people can mix between them, but they are totally different genres. If we can say a main difference, that horror depends on unreliable narrators, but you can say that crime fiction is a reality novel, is a reality type of fiction. It is a crime, there is blood, there is real elements in every part of the novel. There are suspects, there are investigations, there are forensic science, there are a lot of real elements in the novel. But horror always depends on things that you cannot touch, you cannot
The
investigate.
unknown.
Yes, the
Yeah.
unknown, the unseen.
Mm.
It can involve jinn, it can involve ghosts, it can involve exorcism. Even if these elements are introduced in crime fiction, it will be introduced in a reality way, not
Mm.
in a,
Something tangible you can touch.
yes, of
But
course.
I mean, somebody would say, how I cannot consider a murderer as not a source of horror.
I
When there is a crime, a horrible crime, so it's a source of horror. How do you differentiate between this and that?
I agree with this. Totally, I agree, because when I was asked before if I'm going to write horror, my answer is I'm writing horror because I don't believe that there is something more frightening or evil than an evil person or a murderer or a criminal. I think
And of
this
course,
is
there
the
can be
most.
a mix between this and that.
Yes, of course, it
Mm.
can be. And Stephen King, he's an American author. He
Mm.
has a lot of novels, and that was made into drama, and a lot of films, of movies
Mm.
that had both the
Yeah.
crime and the horror. And it was a very interesting combination.
Yeah. Very far from Edgar Allan Poe, for example.
Edgar Allan Poe, because he was in the early 19th
19th
century,
century.
yes,
Mm.
and they call him the father of
father
horror,
of
of
horror.
course,
Mm.
but he didn't have that reality touch like Stephen King. Stephen King was darker and had a stronger reality
You know,
touch
I'm
in
asking these
his.
questions because I want to know this from a specialist. I don't know why, or if this is true. Maybe horror movies are very much popular all over the world and here, not only in Egypt, I mean in the Middle East. But horror books are not that popular. Do you have any explanation?
I think horror books are popular too, but not for all ages. I think that adults don't like horror books.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't believe in the plot that it is introduced. But I think that teenagers are fan of horror books, because I meet a lot of teenagers in the exhibitions, book exhibitions, and that they are fan of horror movies. They want to
Movies, not
escape
books.
movies and books for the readers. They want to escape their reality, you know. So the most two genres that they read and prefer are horror and fantasy. But when you go up in the age of readers, you find they
You
don't
know,
like.
a personal experience. Teens who find others who are in love with horror books, they think that they are psychologically deviated. They don't
Really?
know how to deal with them.
Really?
Yeah.
They are fan of horror and fantasy, both, because they escape from their reality by these elements, you know.
Returning back to you as a novelist specialist or a writer specializing in crime fiction, before going into details of some of your own books, why you've been that much interested in that, or just it came like this when you found yourself writing, you found yourself writing crime fiction?
I was a fan of crime fiction since I was young. The books that I read were crime fiction, of course, for Agatha Christie. The movies I watched, the series, it's all about crime fiction. So this is what I love. And when I came to write something, I felt that the best thing that I can write and deliver to my readers is the best thing that I love and I am fond of. And I'm fond of crime fiction because I'm fond of human being nature. I want to explore that black box inside, the layers and layers of psychological needs and wants, and the human being is very deep. The
But
human
you
being
should be very
very deep.
brave to do so because the reality or the facts are not all the time that nice.
Yes, of course, it's dark. It has a lot of darkness. I wasn't that brave at my beginnings, so I didn't go dive deep into the human being, inside the human beings. But every novel I write, I get more brave to dive a little bit deeper and to connect the childhood traumas and what happened in the past, how can it impact the present, and how it can unsolved conflicts in the past, how can it lead to present crimes. This is the things that I would like to explore in my
Is it our conscious or
early.
subconscious which is leading us? This is the big question, I think. But
Yeah.
let's return back to Aisha Fahmi's palace. And when we went inside before, I thought if I were a writer, the place is going to lead me how to write the heroes or the characters of my novel, or vice versa. I mean, when you are in such a place, is it going to be the thing which is going to have an impact on you, or you are going to find your character first, then to make her or he or him, I mean, suit the place?
I think the place will be the dominant element, because living in such a place, living in such a life will have a great and strong impact on the conflicts that will happen inside, the intense emotions, the high stakes, the political reflections. All of this will have great impact on the character. So I cannot just design an outrooter and place him in the palace. I think it will not be convincing for
Give
the
me the
reader.
physical features of a character related to this palace.
A princess, of course, even if she doesn't have the title, but I think that she will appear and move and
Tall,
think like a
short,
princess.
handsome,
Yes,
beautiful.
of course,
What?
handsome. Of course, handsome and beautiful, and is very seeking for perfection in every detail. I think places like this will affect you with such ideas and such behaviors.
Happy or sad?
I think she will be sad,
Simple
because
or
when you have
complicated?
a lot of pressure on you, it's difficult to find your happiness. And of course, it's complicated. Living
Of
such
course.
a life, yes, of course, living such a life with high stakes and with a lot of pressure, it will create a complicated person, because you have to show what you don't feel, and you can feel things that you can definitely not show. So this will create complicated characters.
There are writers who are all the time saying that I just draw the character and maybe the first chapter of my novel, and right after that the character is leading, and the character is the thing or is the main motive, the main character which is leading. I think I stop thinking my own, and he or she is thinking her or his own. True?
You know, I used to hear such a phrase before being a writer, and I always thought that this is not the
The case.
truth, yes. But when I'm writing, I usually plan good for my characters, but sometimes that happens, and they lead me, and they make me go through a different path that I wasn't planning to go through. So I think it is true.
I'm also
Somehow.
asking this because many of the actors and actresses, when they are very much successful in portraying a character, they all the time feel that this character cannot leave them that easy. They live with this character even after finishing their work of art. Is it the same with a novelist?
Yes, I think so.
Are you
The
telling me that you
characters.
have lived with Nagaya, for example?
Yes, of course. How can I portray her? How can I imagine her and write her features and her feelings if I don't be very close to her. And being close to my characters, it is not easy then to go far from them after I finish writing. Not all the characters, of course, but some characters in each novel, I feel their suffering, and it's not easy for me to just ignore their feelings and go away.
Sure.
But for me, they're like friends. You know, when you have close friends, you listen to them, you help them go through their life journey till the resolution at the end. Characters are my friends, and this is how I feel towards them.
Tell me about your latest and the one in process.
Yes, yes. My latest novel, it is Blood on the Red Carpet, and it takes place in a very modern setting in one of a very famous cinematic festival, and there was a passionate photographer who was photographing his favorite actress. Then he noticed that her dress is leaving stains, dark stains on the red carpet. So his curiosity made him follow these stains, the
Kills
traces.
the cat. Curiosity kills
Yes,
the cat.
yes. And that was when he discovered a dead body. To turn out that this is the body of a very famous producer that was stabbed till death. And this novel had a lot of mysterious elements because we didn't find the murder weapon. We found strange clothes thrown in the garbage. We found sunk microphones in the water. So the detective had a lot of mysterious elements to investigate, and there were a lot of enemies. He found out that this
producer has a lot of
yes,
enemies.
this victim has a lot of enemies, and they were all in the festival. So this made a lot of interrogations, a lot of mysterious and suspicious tense in the air until we know who did it. And of course, as I told you, it was something related to his childhood, to the producer's childhood, and how the traumas of the childhood can make you an evil person till the end of your life.
I'm very much interested to know how you can how you can have the lead on all of these characters and on all of these incidents at a time. I mean, is it a skeleton and then you put your flesh on, or you just have a map and after this map you can start? And how much time should it take? Because I think this is a huge work, huge sum of work.
Yes, of course. You know, it is a bit of that and this. I begin with a map, but while I am writing, I feel this map is not complete. It is more like a skeleton, as you have said. And when I finish, I find a lot of places that need more flesh, more colors, more depth. So I go to work on it maybe several times, several layers that I put on the novel until I feel that it is enough. About my new novel that I was working on, and it should be produced in the Cairo exhibition in inshallah next January. It takes place in a very beloved setting in Dahab, the city of Dahab in Sinai. It has a lot of magic places, so I wanted to explore these places with my reader.
Don't mix Dahab with blood, please.
Oh yes, I have to. I have to. But it wasn't a lot of blood. Okay, maybe we had a serial killer. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You can read the novel and know. But I can assure you that we had a blue fly. And the blue flies only are found beside dead bodies.
Yes.
Okay. And through it, I also discovered how unsolved conflicts in the past can lead to present crimes, which is a plot that I like, yani. And in this novel, I had a lot of different characters because I had a Frenchman, an Italian lady, Egyptian.
This is a cosmopolitan novel.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then we can take a tour inside Aisha Palace, Aisha Fahmi's palace, and maybe this is going to be one of your coming novels.
I wish to.
I really enjoyed my time as usual. Thank you very much, and we are going to leave you, but with a promise to see you again in more episodes of Nile Cruise. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We were very much delighted to have with us Noha Daoud, one of our, I would say, great novelists, because we do not have such a novelist specializing in crime fiction, but we do have one of them right now, and inshallah we are going to have her in more episodes of our program. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more. Stay tuned.